Also a big game for Tampa Bay. They need to win this game in order to clinch their fourth straight NFC South divisional crown. So if you look at Mike Evans, he is 85 yards away from another 1,000-yard receiving season. So if this game is with, kind of out of the realm of kind of competitive, which the spread in this game is Tampa Bay laying 14 against the hapless Saints. So it feels to me like Baker Mayfield is going to keep this in mind. And even if incentives weren't a thing, because here's the kind of outline for this week, you're going to hear a lot about player incentives and milestones. I feel like these are good plays if, the game is not competitive, or these are plays that you would like anyway. So they are a part of the handicap. They're not the entire handicap. But Mike Evans, 85 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. I think he can get 85 this week. I think the way you play this, though, is because, long sigh, the books have caught on to us. I think these player incentives, they've been so profitable over the last few years that the books have said, hey, we need to raise some of these lines. I was looking at Mike Evans' receiving prop earlier this week. In fact, I think it was 2 nights ago. It was set at 91.5. You want to guess what this number is now? It's 98.5, and it's juiced to the over at minus 125. This line has moved 7 full yards, which is crazy in the props world. So I think the way you play this is another way. You do like a safety parlay where, not an actual safety, but like a conservative parlay where you go Mike Evans, 80-plus receiving yards, and then Baker Mayfield, who's also in line for some contract incentives, over 1.5 touchdown passes. I think he can do it. He's been somebody who's been absolutely lighting up the scoreboard. Like I said, last time around, the Bucs scored 51 against the Saints. So I think this is the way you play it. It nets you plus 105. Mike Evans, 80-plus receiving yards, and Baker Mayfield, 2+ passing touchdowns. Because listen, I want to do a Mike Evans touchdown scoring bet, but they haven't even offered this. So Mike Evans, number 1 on the player props that I like this weekend.
I love that. Mike Evans is an absolute beast. This guy's a future Hall of Famer. And with that incentive, and they need to win this game anyway, I feel like everything's just coming together. Not just from his personal standpoint, but from a team aspect. And also the Buccaneers have just been, my God, a wagon with their offense like you were talking about. So, man, you can see why everyone's on that. I wish I'd got it sooner. But honestly, Chelsea, it wouldn't shock me if he went for a hundo in his game. Like, it can still hit easily.
Yeah, I'm not going to be shocked either. I think I'm going to play it that way just in case, if the game's out of hand. But I do think Baker Mayfield tries to get him that milestone because he's the go-to guy. Because we look at these milestones and there's some like fringy type guys. Like, you're not going to like go out of your way to reward some of the guys who aren't like the cornerstones of the offense, especially if the game is close. So maybe that's your sabotage factor for some of these. The other milestone that I think is worth noting, and I'm going to do the same thing in this one, Derrick Henry is 1 touchdown away from another 500,000 on the year. He's had a great season when it comes to touchdowns. One more touchdown, he gets, like I said, $500,000, but it's minus 235 for him to score a touchdown. So what we're going to do is a Derrick Henry touchdown, combine it with 80-plus rushing yards. He's hit this in 4 of the last 5 games, and it's going to be a winning game script. The Ravens are favored by 19.5 points, so one would think that Derrick Henry gets a lot of run in this game. It's been a guy that's been great in December. It's his birthday month. I remember this back when he was with the Titans. He's somebody who gets better as the season goes on. Like, you see him, he's the peak of performance and training and endurance, not somebody who looks worse down the stretch. So that'll get you minus 110 if you combine his touchdown and 80-plus for Derrick Henry. If you're sensing a theme, you're saying, okay, Chelsea, you're only backing the big names this week. Why would you not, especially in some of these games that really matter? You're going to trust your superstars when the season's on the line. I think that's the case for the Vikings game as well. So I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson to go over his receptions prop as well. It's minus 118 for over 6.5 catches. He's hit this in 5 straight, 7 catches last time around against the Lions. It is the biggest game of the year for the Vikings in this one. 14-2 facing a Lions team that's 14-2. And oh, by the way, the Lions defense has looked very beatable over the last few weeks. So I think this is the time where the defensive line injuries really come to a front. And plus, you look at somebody like Justin Jefferson. it feels like he's matchup proof. Even against some of the best corners in football, Justin Jefferson still gets his catches, and he's been peppered with targets as of late. 11, 13, and 14 targets over the last 3 games. So if you think Sam Darnold's not trusting Justin Jefferson in the biggest game of the year, I'm going to disagree with you. So I'm going to go over his catches, 6.5 for -118.
Man, like it again. I always like your bets, though. Every now and then I'll be like, I don't know about this. But that's when you're asking me about a sabotage factor. But I agree with you here. With a total this high and the Lions defense as banged up as it is. Also, man, I love Sam Darnold's story. I just love his story. Isn't that America? Don't we love a good comeback story? Remember a couple years ago we were making fun of Sam Darnold for seeing ghosts and having mono? Like, that's what he was known for.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold. Mononucleosis. And here he is.
That's right.
I mean, that was a real, the funny thing is that's a real thing. As crazy as that sounds, it's a real thing. And so the fact that here he is guiding the Vikings and playing like an MVP after being such a high draft pick, I kind of love that redemption story. And look, if you don't believe in him by now, then I don't know what to tell you. So he and Justin Jefferson have been nails all season long. So I'm about that as well. And I can't wait for the Sunday night game. It's going to be fantastic.
I know. In a week where not that many games actually matter, like this is going to be the best one of the bunch. And I hope we do see a lot of scoring. Like 56.5 is a really high total, but this game is indoors and you have 2 great offenses. And especially when you have somebody like the Lions who are willing to do trick plays at any juncture of even a meaningful game, I'm expecting fireworks. All right, Jenks, I got one more player prop for you.
Let's go.
This isn't even about contract incentives. This is just about the matchup. Like I said, the Carolina Panthers have been an autoplay when you're playing opposing running back. So this week we get Bijan Robinson and the Falcons. Big game for the Falcons. Still, trying to win the NFC South if the Bucs lose as well. His number is really high. It's 95.5 for -130, which in normal circumstances I would not play. But if you look at the past game logs for opposing running backs against the Panthers, like it's easy to see how Bijan could easily top 100 yards. If you look at the last 6, Bucky Irving of the Bucs had 113. James Conner of the Cardinals, 117 rush yards. Rico Dowdle, 149. Saquon, 124. And Bucky Irving, once again, had 152 the last time he faced the Carolina Panthers. The Falcons are 8.5-point favorites. Good game script. And this defense is absolutely terrible, especially when you have a rookie quarterback who actually makes the rush attack more effective, because Michael Penix Jr. can run that read option, and it keeps the defense kind of honest when it comes to the run game. I think Bijan has a big week this week. I know it's sticker shock 95.5, but I think it's a really good spot for him.